Hello and welcome to the new video. Today we're going to take a look at Shadow Machamp in the Open Master League. This Pokemon got buffed, Cross Chop is now a little bit stronger, so let's see if we can annoy some Dialgas with this Pokemon, as our Dialga gets annoyed immediately. You know, I'm always honest, I actually tried to do some more battles as well with this Pokemon in a different team prior. It went very well. It went 0 and 11 for me, so that was kinda great, where I actually unintentionally went 0 and 11 with a different team around this Pokemon. I think it was Kyogre lead, Sasop, Dialga, and Machamp in the back, and I encountered I think like 9 Dragon type Pokemon in 11 games in the lead, which was amazing. So now I shifted this team here. Basically, I tried to play this team already on Sunday as well, which did not work at all for me as well, but it was mainly due to server lag, which was because of the raid day most likely. And so I tried this team again today, where I was not really expecting anything, and I actually had really positive results and actually went positive. Could also be the case because I of course had a little bit of a benefit now from dropping some points prior from all the other games that I lost, but I still can at least say I went positive in 2 sets with this Pokemon, which is something that I would have never imagined to say, because as you already most likely imagine, this Pokemon is not the craziest. You don't really see it anymore. But yeah, we're going to talk a little bit more about the issues of this thing later on, but here we're going to be able to win the first game because it can hit a Rock Slide, and let's move on to the next opponent. So, what's the issue for Shadow Machamp, and can you fix it? I don't know. Like, the thing is, of course, the CP already. Like, you're only gonna get to, like, I think the Hunter's 3455 CP. Here we have 57. So, like, we have a really good IV variant anyway. And I'm still not regretting building this Pokemon because it's great for PvE, like for raids, as well as for like the Rocket Grunts as well. For like those, it's going to be great to use, especially for like the normal Grunt or like the Steel Grunt, because you're gonna have like the super fast Cross Chop, and so like it's a good Pokemon to have, for sure, especially for raids as well. But what I have to say is that it is also going to be very good for the Master League Premier Cup, where you're not allowed to use any legendary Pokemon, especially as the meta going to be a little bit more towards steel types like Excadrill, like the Metagross, which is kind of okay for you, but also you're gonna enjoy the coverage of Rockslide a little bit more in the meta where you don't have legendary Pokemon, as Pokemon like Togekiss is going to be around, the Dragonite going to be around, quite a lot of Flyer like Gyarados for example. So like, I'm definitely going to make another video about Shadow Machamp in the Master League as soon as we're going to have the Master League Premier Cup available, so I don't regret it. But here, by the way, look at this. Finally, we can align against the Dialga. I would try to go for the full farm down here just to save some time, but the opponent actually can still go for a charge move, which doesn't matter because we have our own Dialga, so we can win this game. But yeah, basically, it's going to be great for this meta, but for the Open Master League, it's going to be very tough right now. Why is this the case? Basically, one Pokemon that I encountered, I think 4 times in a row yesterday, was Landorus in the lead. Landorus going to be a tough Pokemon to beat for this one. At least you can still survive one Sensia Storm, but you're not going to do too much damage back against it. But also, since the recent change to like Dialga Origin Form and Palkia Origin Form, the meta kinda shifted towards a ton of Fairy-type Pokemon. So I would imagine as soon as there's maybe a new Steel-type Pokemon that's going to take over or something like this, this Pokemon actually would have a little bit more play. But right now, basically the only target for Machamp here is going to be the Dialga, and that's basically it. And this is of course not really a lot. I thought of maybe going for the coverage move of Payback, I think it's called. Payback for Mewtwo or something like this might have been better for me, but I thought also like maybe Rockslide comes in clutch against Pokemon like the Ho-Oh, like the Dragonite as well. But again, I was not really too happy about the performance of Machamp. I would not recommend you to build it, at least for this one, but I still would recommend it to build it in general because it is kind of cool for PvE, for like those Rocket Grunts as well, of course, for the upcoming Master League Premier Cup. And the Master League Premier Cup is most likely coming back quite often as well in the future, so definitely a Pokemon that's nice to have for that. But in the Open Master League, it is not really ideal. Here, I actually think I would have been able to win this game if I went for the Cross Chop prior, but yeah, I wasn't sure if it would knock out, so I went for the safe play, which at the end of the day cost me the game. Next opponent, we're going to have a lead that I kinda enjoy, I have to say, because Togekiss, here we had some lag as well. Togekiss is going to be a Pokemon that I don't want to face with my Machamp, and in comes now the Ho-Oh. They get one fast move off, and I can go into my own Machamp, which is going to be great, as we can now count the energy of the opponent. We can get actually a secondary shield from the opponent with us Rock Slide, And that's going to be great for us. We maybe should have went actually for the bait here because it was kind of predictable that we would go for the Rock Slide. And if we went for the bait, I would have been able to get to the move here just before they get to their next charge move, which would have been really, really good for me. But I make even another mistake here. I could have overfarmed by a little bit here as well still, because the opponent would have not been at a charge move yet. And so that was a little bit of a mistake. Maybe would have got off a move or whatever, but like at the end of the day, hopefully it doesn't really matter, as he's still going to have our Mewtwo. Mewtwo can just go for one side strike and most likely knock out the Togekiss. Let's see, they're going to have a Landorus in the back, and this is going to be very, very tough for us. We can try to go ahead and swap into our own Dialga, and we can catch the move, which is great, which is going to knock us out, but it's going to be the best play that we can go for because we wouldn't not be able to farm down. So we can overfarm by quite a bit. I overfarm the perfect amount. That's going to be a CMP tie against the opponent, and with this we can knock out the Landorus. But is this going to be enough now to knock out the Togekiss is the question, as this Pokemon is going to still have some HP left here. It is not enough, and we sadly lose barely. But again, like I went positive now for the today's game, which is here also with the background being a little bit brighter. So we're gonna see that the opponent has a Shadow Mewtwo in the lead. I actually do enjoy battling against the Shadow Mewtwo more than against the normal one. I think the normal one is better than the Shadow variant, which is kind of funny, but like, yeah, I don't know. Shadow variant is still kind of decent. I actually have a really good one that I can build. Actually, I have two really good ones that I can build. One is even Shadow Shiny, which is kind of nice, which I kind of want to build. But yeah, basically I need the XL Candy, which is going to be tough, but this Pokemon is gonna go down here. In comes now the Ho-Oh, and this is not really an ideal scenario for me. I'm gonna go for the Iron Head bait, which is going to get the shield from the opponent, which is great. And now I'm just going to go ahead and go into my Mewtwo. I should be able to still reach a Side Strike, hopefully in time, as the opponent goes for their own charge move. Brave Bird is coming through, I would knock them out, but they have a Zygarde in the bag. And now we have to be kind of careful here. We can still go for one Side Strike, which is going to get them kind of low. I wish I had Ice Beam here. Ice Beam on Mewtwo, by the way, would be a cool thing to do at the current meta, especially with like also all the Dragon-type Pokemon available. I guess most of them kind of resist Ice, like get like neutral damage on, like the Dialga and the Palkia. But I feel like Ice Beam has some potential. But then again, you're going to lose out on the Shadow Ball coverage, which is not really ideal for you either, because you kind of need this for Solgaleo and also other Mewtwo's, of course. Here we can still farm them down, which is very important, because now Ho-Oh can say goodbye, as he can just go ahead and go for the Draco Meteor, and we can win this game. Next opponent, Annihilate in the lead. Not really ideal for us, so we have to swap out, and I have to swap out as well into my Machamp, because anything else would not really work out for me, because I need to keep my Mewtwo for this Pokemon. In comes the Palkia, and at least our Punchy Ball can do some punches now, as the Cross Chop is gonna get them low. Not really low enough that they would need to use a shield here, so that's kinda unfortunate for us, but they still decide to use a shield. And so what we can try to do now is we can go into our Dialga, but we know already that Dialga gonna get hard-walled immediately afterwards against like the Annihilate. So the best play that I can do is I can let this Spatial Rant go through, and I have to farm them basically all the way down. I kind of want to swap onto the Mewtwo a little bit earlier, but the Switch Lock wasn't up, and so now we're going to have Mewtwo against the Annihilate. In comes the Shadow Ball, we can shield this one up, and in comes now the Ho-Oh. This game is not over yet. But we also have to say that this game is definitely still kinda tricky to win. In comes the Side Strike, and the opponent makes a great play here, because otherwise they would have got to the charge move a little bit earlier, but now they're gonna go straight for the Brave Bird. And so, with this, I also know that I can overfarm up to 100 energy, and this is exactly what I'm gonna do here, actually it's 99 energy at that time here, but it's going to be okay. We can knock them out, and now we have some energy stored. Now I have to take a risk. Like, do they have like Night Edge or whatever, which they would be able to maybe get before me? I just decide to stay in, and I can go for the Side Strike, which is going to allow us to knock them out here and win this game. Good game there, trainer. Definitely a great game from Mewtwo. Let's see, next opponent. We're going to have a Zacian in the lead. Not really ideal for us, because Zacian can basically break both my lead as well as the Machamp in the back. I kind of still have to go for something like the Dialga, because, yeah, Dialga is kind of very good against something like the Palkia, which is kind of everywhere, as well as you have coverage against Fairy-type Pokemon, as well as you're going to be great against most Flying-type Pokemon that don't have the name of Landorus, at least, because Landorus is going to be tricky. Here we were able to catch a close combat, which was really important, as now the opponent is forced to go ahead and go for a shield most likely eventually, or go for a charge move here, which they're going to do. An Awkward here should be enough to knock us out most likely. Let's find out. It is, but we can get some energy, and this is going to be great energy for our Dialga, as of course we need to get some Iron Heads onto the Fairy-type Pokemon. Let's see what they're gonna go for. They're gonna go ahead and go into their Zacian again. That's going to be great. I can go for an Iron Head eventually, but they actually get to the move a little bit too early for me, which I did not really expect, and they decide to swap out into the Kyogre, and here I make a crucial mistake. I decide to go ahead and go for the Draco Meteor. I could have actually swapped out most likely a little bit earlier, or like went for an Iron Head, because it's kind of likely that they would not really want to do anything here, so I decided to swap out now into my Machamp. Machamp can still go at least for a Cross Chop. I would have not been able to reach the Rock Slide in time before they would get to a Surf, and I think it would have knocked me out. So at least I can get some damage against them now. And with this, I hopefully will be able to just farm them down with my Dialga, and so I still have an Iron Head, and this Iron Head is coming in clutch against the Zacian, still winning us this game, but we can now move on to the next opponent. Let's find out what they're going to run. Dialga in the lead against Dialga. This is going to be a matchup that is going to be okay for me. Here's the thing, I'm just gonna go straight for the Draco Meteor, because like if they're going to go for Iron Head and they no shield, I win. If they go for Draco Meteor, I can farm down with my Machamp. If, yeah, here we're gonna see that they went for the Iron Head and they decided here now to go for the no shield so we can realign our Pokemon, but we have to swap out here as the opponent has a Landorus. Landorus is a pain for me, like honestly. If I have to say like the strongest Pokemon currently in the Master League meta, I would not even say like it's Palkia, like Palkia is very strong. For me it's clearly Landorus. Like Landorus is so insanely annoying because they kind of forced to run certain Pokemon in order to counter it. And yeah, it is what it is. Like I feel like Landorus is currently one of the strongest, if not the strongest Pokemon to play in the Open Master League. But as you can see, the opponent can still go for a Side Strike against our Mewtwo. And what we're also gonna see here is I decided to go for a 2 shield, and this is basically my only way of trying to win this game, but it's going to be a very tough one. As I can catch the move, I wish I got some more damage onto them, because now I don't know if my Machamp would be able to farm them all the way down. Let's find out here. Okay, maybe not. The opponent swaps out into Landorus. I can reach the Rock Slide in time. This will be okay for me, as they're gonna go ahead and now decide to go for their own Sancia Storm. I can still survive one, but it is going to be a very, very close matchup. Let's see if we can still reach another one. We cannot. They can still go for their own charge move. My only play is now to farm them all the way down with my Psycho Cut. Can I do this? I can, and so I have now easily enough energy to knock out the opponent's Mewtwo. We have a Hundo as well, so we would most likely at least win CMP or whatever, but yeah, the opponent is deciding to let this move go through and we can move on to the next opponent. Second to last battle for today, we're going to have the Lugia on the lead, a matchup that I kinda don't really like either. It's actually a very annoying matchup in my opinion for the Dialga. I decided to swap out after this Draco Meteors, and now in Side Strike range as well. In comes the Kyogre. This is going to be okay for me. Side Strike is coming through. This is going to two-shot the opponent as well. They're forced to go straight for a charge move if they want to get my shield, and they decide to do exactly this. But now I can also go ahead and go for a few fast moves here on my own. Could actually overfarm by even more than this, and I should have done that as well. I could have overfarmed by at least like 3 more fast moves, but it is what it is. The opponent decides to go ahead and let this move go through, and now I'm forced to still get a move off here, which is great. Lugia is going to have to use a shield here, which is going to be okay for us, but we can't try to catch a move. Did not work out, and they have a Xerneas in the back. And this is like a thing which I just kind of wanted to point out again. Like for this current meta, fighting type Pokemon are just not really great. Like there's nothing that really is something that people want to run to even counter fairy types, because there is no real great steel type that is actually like a steel type, I would say. Like there's maybe Metagross, which you can kind of run, but otherwise we don't really have great steel type fast moves. Like the recent edition of Metal Sound was also a joke from Niantic. So yeah, I just hope that there might be some steel type Pokemon that are going to be a little bit better. Maybe they buff the double Iron Bash on the Melmetal a little bit, which is something that I would love to see, like Melmetal getting a little bit more spotlight. But like this, we're sadly going to lose this battle, as I had to call a bait, which did not work out, and so we can move on to the next one. Final battle for today, we're going to have a very bad lead again for us. We try to catch a move. As you can see, that worked out perfectly. I have to let this next move go through, which is going to be the Moonblast, and they're going to not get a debuff, which is great for me. So I can go for another Side Strike, force a shield from the opponent, or get some damage onto them, and I definitely take this damage as we can get them closer and closer to even Dragon Breath downrange as the Moonblast is coming through. Now they're going to get the attack drop against us, which is really unfortunate, as this is going to change quite a bit later on, as you're gonna see here. As they're going to have their own Mewtwo in the back, I can still go for a Shadow Ball, but this is now going to do way less damage, and it's not going to put them into farm down range for either of my Pokemon, which is really unfortunate, as they're going to have in the back the Zapdos. And Zapdos is something that you barely really see. Very cool to see this Pokemon actually live here, because I actually have not even caught this one yet. I only caught one Pokemon so far, like one Pokemon in general, of course. One Galarian bird, I mean, of course, with that. And this is the Galarian Moltres, and only with a Master Ball. Like, all of them flee from me. I even had, like, recently an encounter with a low-level Articuno, and yeah, Ultra Ball plus excellent throw and the berry, and it literally just went out immediately and fled. So I just don't have luck with these birds. But here I was able to do a great play, because I was able to catch a move with my Mewtwo, but also call the bait from the opponent. It was like my only chance of calling the bait of the Ancient Power, which was amazing for me, because now we can go for the cross chop, and the Zapdos is also gonna go down. This was by far my favorite game here for the end. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, feel free to leave a like, and I'll see you then. Bye bye.